Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around them. One of the penalties of refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Democracy is a charming form of government, full of variety and disorder, and dispensing a sort of equality to equals and unequals alike. Mankind censure injustice, fearing that they may be the victims of it and not because they shrink from committing it. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. What is it that, when present in a body, makes it living? A soul. Everything that deceives may be said to enchant. Wealth is the parent of luxury and indolence, poverty of meanness and viciousness, and both of discontent. Anyone who holds a true opinion without understanding is like a blind man on the right road. Knowledge without justice ought to be seen as cunning rather than wisdom. Let every man remind their descendants that they also are soldiers who must not desert the ranks of their ancestors, or from cowardice fall behind. When there is an income tax, the just man will pay more, and the unjust less, on the same amount of income. The measure of a man is what he does with power. There are three classes of men: lovers of wisdom, lovers of honor, and lovers of gain. The man who is not a good servant will never be a good master. Astronomy compels the soul to look upwards and leads us from this world to another. Democracy comes into being after the poor have beaten their opponents. They slaughter some and banish some, while to the remainder they give an equal share of freedom and power. The true navigator must study the seasons of the year, the sky, the stars, the winds, and all the other subjects appropriate to his profession if he is to be fit to control the ship. The electorate think that it's impossible to acquire the professional skill needed for such control, and that there is no such thing as the art of navigation. An excessive desire for liberty at the expense of everything else is what undermines democracy and leads to the demand for tyranny. Ignorance of all things is an evil neither terrible nor excessive, nor yet the greatest of all. But great cleverness and much learning, if they are accompanied by a bad training, are a much greater misfortune. Nothing can be more absurd than the practice that prevails in our country of men and women not following the same pursuits with all their strengths and with one mind. Thus, the state, instead of being whole, is reduced to half. Those who intend on becoming great should love neither themselves nor their own things, but only what is just, whether it happens to be done by themselves or others. The rulers of the state are the only persons who ought to have the privilege of lying, either at home or abroad. They may be allowed to lie for the good of the state. To prefer evil to good is not in human nature, and when a man is compelled to choose one of two evils, none will choose the greater when he might have the less. Human behavior flows from three main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. Music is the movement of sound that reaches the soul, for the education of its virtue. Justice means minding one's own business and not meddling with the concerns of other men.